In a modern glass office building in Manhattan, New York, standing 35 floors tall, Ashley Holmes stood facing a large window on the top floor. It was December 23rd, at 3 p.m. She silently watched as the falling snow transformed the usually bustling financial district into a quiet, silvery world. Her desk was buried underneath investment analysis reports for the fourth quarter of the year, and her walls adorned with numerous awards as a financial analyst. At 35, Ashley was known as one of the most excellent senior analysts at the investment bank. "Will it really go well tomorrow?" she muttered to herself with a sigh, her usually confident expression wavering. It had been 15 years since her father's passing. During that time, Ashley had immersed herself in her work to sustain herself. Her income of $150,000 and carefully managed savings were proof of her efforts. A new notification appeared on her smartphone. It was the latest Instagram post from her brother Brian, showing off a new Rolex with the caption, "Life is great." #luxurious living. Happy family. Another new watch. Ashley frowned. Her brother had been squandering their father's inheritance as if it would last forever. His wife, Vanessa, was of the same ilk, posting pictures of luxury brand bags and accessories almost daily. Her mother, Hillary, and stepfather, Douglas, also lived a lavish life in an upscale residence in Florida. Ashley had received a call from her mother the night before, as usual, about money. "Ashley, listen," her mother's voice had a saccharine tone. "Brian wants to buy a new car. He needs a down payment." "All right, I'll transfer it again." Ashley responded clearly, having acceded to similar requests many times before. She supported her parents' extravagant lifestyle and assisted her brother financially. From her desk drawer, she took out a photo the last Christmas with her father. The picture was taken in the hospital, and though he was frail, he had a warm smile. "Dad, I'm trying hard," she whispered to the photo before shifting her gaze to a reservation confirmation next to it. The high-end resort in the Aspen Mountains, Skytop Lodge. She had booked 34 suites at $800 per night for the Christmas period, totaling about $10,000. It was a significant decision, even on her income. This trip wasn't just a family vacation for Ashley, it was the last chance to mend her relationship with her family. By bearing all costs and creating time to spend with the entire family, she hoped something might change. The office phone rang. It was a confirmation call from Skytop Lodge. They wanted to make final arrangements for her stay starting tomorrow. Ashley straightened up, switching to her usual professional mode. "Yes, Ashley here. Regarding tomorrow's matter." While on the phone, Ashley looked out the window again. It was a winter afternoon filled with mixed feelings of anticipation and anxiety. In the center of Ashley's room, a Louis Vuitton suitcase was only half packed. On the bed, a dark green cashmere sweater she planned to wear the next day was neatly folded. While not a $30,000 sweater, its high-quality material and simple design reflected Ashley's tastes and life philosophy. "Is this the right outfit?" she murmured, holding the dark green sweater against her chest in front of the mirror. Vanessa always wore the latest designer brands, and her mother had grown to prefer flashy clothes to match Douglas's luxurious tastes. The phone rang. It was William. "Is everything progressing?" His voice carried its usual kindness, tinged with concern. "Yes, mostly," Ashley replied, sounding a bit tired. "I've given the staff at Skytop Lodge special instructions. Contact me immediately if anything happens." William was a renowned hotel chain owner in the U.S., and Skytop Lodge was one of his luxury resorts. They had met at an investors' conference 2 years ago and had been building a steady relationship since. "Thank you. But it'll be okay," Ashley continued as she walked towards the window. "I believe this time will be different. This trip will change something." After hanging up the phone, Ashley sat down on the sofa in her living room. A photo of her last moment with her father was placed on the coffee table. It was 15 years ago, just before her father passed away. In a white hospital room, Her emaciated father had gently held Ashley's hand and said, "You're strong. You're the only one I can trust to take care of the family." With those words in her heart, Ashley had studied relentlessly, graduated from college with excellent grades, and made her way up in the world of finance. She worked as hard as her male colleagues and reached the position of senior analyst at an investment bank in her early 30s. Meanwhile, her brother Brian had dropped out of college following their father's death, and with the indulgence of his stepfather, continued to live off the inheritance. After getting married, he and his wife, Vanessa, maintained a luxurious lifestyle. Ashley's smartphone vibrated with a message from Brian. "You're picking me up tomorrow morning, right? Don't oversleep." His typically arrogant tone came through even in text. Ashley briefly replied, "Of course." She had mixed feelings about using her own car for transportation. Typically, Brian used premium taxi services and hardly ever drove his own car. Looking at the clock, it was already past 10 p.m. She had to pick up her family early the next morning. Ashley sighed as she began to organize the rest of her luggage. Whether it was anticipation for tomorrow, her heartbeat quickened slightly. Looking at her father's photo one last time, his smile seemed encouraging. "Tomorrow will surely go well," she murmured to herself as she headed to the bedroom. It seemed it would take a while to fall into a quiet sleep, with a mix of anticipation and anxiety about the next day. On Christmas Eve morning, Manhattan was enveloped in a silvery world of snow. The clock showed 6 a.m. Ashley woke up before her alarm clock rang. "Today's the day," she said to herself as she took a deep breath and got out of bed. She woke up 30 minutes earlier than planned, which was actually better. She wanted to be fully prepared before picking up her family. In front of the large mirror in the bathroom, Ashley carefully applied her makeup. Around her neck, she wore a single diamond necklace that was a keepsake from her father. Her simple yet elegant attire reflected who Ashley was. Perfect. The confidence she had cultivated over 35 years of life, and the anxiety about the upcoming events subtly intertwined in the mirror's reflection. The underground parking garage of her luxury apartment building was quieter than usual. Most residents were probably still asleep on Christmas Eve morning. Ashley's black Mercedes-Benz S550 gleamed under the garage lights. As she started the car, the navigation system displayed the route. The first destination was the upscale apartment on the Upper East Side where her mother and stepfather lived. From there, she would head to Brian and Vanessa's new home in Brooklyn. The roads were clear, but careful driving was necessary due to the snow. When she arrived at the Upper East Side, her mother, Hillary, was already waiting at the entrance of the apartment, dressed in a flashy red coat and holding a large Gucci bag. Her stepfather, Douglas, got into the back seat without a word. "Good morning," Ashley, her mother's voice had a contrived tone, as if greeting a high-end taxi driver. Next, they went to Brian and Vanessa's house in Brooklyn. The couple had recently moved to an expensive area, despite rumors that their inheritance was running low, continuing to keep up appearances. "Ashley, you're late." Brian's voice carried his usual arrogance. Vanessa was dressed in a new Gucci coat, holding a matching bag. Both looked as if they had stepped out of a fashion magazine. With everyone aboard, Ashley carefully took the wheel. Brian sat in the passenger seat, constantly fiddling with his smartphone, probably making another boastful post. The atmosphere inside the car was heavy. Apart from occasional whispers between Hillary and Vanessa, there was hardly any conversation. After about 2 hours of driving, the snow-covered peaks of the Pocono Mountains came into view, breathtakingly beautiful, and eased some of Ashley's tension. "Ah, you can see it now," Brian suddenly exclaimed. The luxurious structure of Skytop Lodge appeared amidst the snowy landscape. The grand building, styled in Italian Renaissance, displayed a stunning harmony with the surrounding nature. A giant Christmas tree decorated the front entrance, and illuminations sparkled everywhere. Luxury cars arrived one after another, and wealthy families alighted. When Ashley parked the car in front of the entrance, a uniformed bellboy approached. From that moment, everything began to change. "You've worked hard to get us here." Brian's voice, icy cold, resonated inside the car. Ashley twisted around to look at the back seat. There, she saw her brother with a malicious smirk she had never seen before. Her mother, Hillary, and stepfather, Douglas, averted their gazes, while Vanessa gave a small smile. Ashley instinctively felt that something bad was about to happen. "The driver's job ends here. This hotel is for us, the real family only," Brian declared. Ashley was momentarily stunned. It felt as though the temperature inside the car had plummeted. "What do you mean?" Ashley's voice trembled slightly. "I made the reservations." "Oh, the reservations," Brian sneered. "They've already been changed. Just to our names." Her mother Hillary looked troubled but said nothing. Her stepfather Douglas continued to look out the window. Vanessa did not bother to hide her malicious grin. Everyone except Ashley got out of the car. Brian instructed the bellboy to take the luggage. Ashley slowly took out her smartphone, consciously trying not to let her hands tremble, and pressed William's number. After a few rings, his calm voice came through. "Hello, Ashley." "William, cancel the reservations." Ashley's voice maintained an unexpected calm. "All of them, please." After a moment of silence on the other end, William seemed to understand the situation. "Understood. I'll arrange it right away." At that moment, a staff member in uniform approached from the front desk. Against the backdrop of white snow, the black uniform stood out sharply. From inside the car, Ashley watched everything through the window. "I'm sorry, we cannot find your reservation," the staff member informed them. The smile vanished from Brian's face. Hillary began fumbling through her purse in a panic. Douglas turned to face the front for the first time. "There must be some mistake." Hillary's anxious muttering was audible. Ashley slowly rolled down the car window. "It's no mistake." Ashley's voice was calm. "All reservations have been canceled. Goodbye." "Ashley, wait." Brian's voice carried a note of desperation. "It's just a joke, you know that, right?" But Ashley had already started the engine and grasped the steering wheel. In the rearview mirror, she saw her family standing perplexed. Vanessa's expensive boots sank into the snow. "Ashley." Hillary's voice faded with the wind. The car slowly exited the hotel parking lot and began retracing its path. The snow continued to fall. A single tear rolled down Ashley's cheek. It was more a tear of liberation than of sorrow. Her smartphone began to ring. It was Brian calling. She ignored it. Then came a call from Hillary. Ignored as well. Messages started arriving one after another. "Why would you do this? It's Christmas Eve. You've embarrassed us. Will you refund the accommodation costs?" Ashley let out a small laugh at the last message. In the end, their interest was always in money. Not in love or familial bonds, just calculations and pretenses. As Ashley drove down the mountain, heading towards the city, she decided not to go to her own apartment, but instead to William's penthouse. She felt a refreshing sense of clarity reflecting from her expression in the rearview mirror. The streetlights gently illuminated the falling snow, adding a peaceful glow to the festive evening. The quietness inside the car, devoid of any passengers in the back seat, was surprisingly comforting. 2 hours later, Ashley's car slid into the underground parking garage of William's penthouse. Stepping into the elevator, she felt a warm sensation spreading inside her chest. It was clear to her that she was headed to the right place. When she opened the door to the penthouse, she was greeted by the warmth of the space and William's presence. The fireplace was already lit, softly lighting up the living room. "Ashley, are you okay?" William asked, his voice filled with deep care. "Yes." Ashley smiled back. "Actually, I feel relieved." William quietly listened while preparing 2 glasses of wine as Ashley shared everything. Brian's malicious smile, her mother Hillary's evasive gaze, and the actions she herself had taken. "Ashley, you made the right choice," William assured her from the sofa in front of the fireplace. "But I ruined their Christmas because of me," Ashley muttered, gazing at the wine glass in her hand. "That's not true." William's voice was gentle yet firm. "They ruined their own Christmas. You just protected your own worth." Tears welled up in Ashley's eyes, but they were not tears of sorrow. Instead, they were tears of relief from the burden she had carried for years. Her smartphone vibrated again. This time, it was a message from her stepfather, Douglas. "Because of your selfishness, you've embarrassed the entire family. Don't ever show your face again." Ashley turned off her smartphone completely. William placed his hand on her shoulder, offering a warmth she had never felt from her family before. "From tomorrow, a new life begins," Ashley declared, looking into the flames of the fireplace. "I won't let anyone interfere with my life anymore." William nodded silently. For Ashley, this was the most meaningful Christmas Eve ever. She hadn't lost her family, she had reclaimed her true self. The keepsake necklace from her father softly glittered in the light of the fireplace. On Christmas morning, Manhattan was enveloped in a silvery white world. The view from the windows of William's penthouse looked like a postcard, with snow continuing to fall gently between the high rises, softly covering up the events of the previous day. "Good morning, honey." William greeted her as he was already making coffee. The aroma of espresso filled the room. "I got a call from Skytop Lodge this morning." William started quietly. "Your family made quite a scene." Standing by the window with a mug cupped in her hands, Ashley responded calmly. "I expected as much. Brian must have caused a commotion." Turning on her smartphone, the screen was quickly filled with notifications. Over 40 missed calls. Nearly 100 messages. Most were from her mother Hillary and her brother Brian, with a few from Douglas. "Ashley, do you think this is acceptable? You've made us a laughingstock in the lobby of a luxury hotel, and I'll never forget it. How dare you treat us this way? What about tonight?" The last message was from her mother. "We need to talk about money. Call me immediately." Ashley sighed deeply and set the smartphone down. William hugged her from behind, his warmth reassuring. "I've made up my mind," Ashley said, ready to face whatever came next, empowered and unburdened. Ashley turned to look directly into William's eyes, her resolve clear. "I'm cutting off all ties with them," she declared firmly. William nodded silently, his expression showing full support for her decision. "Are you sure about this?" he asked gently. "After all, they are your family." "No, they aren't," Ashley replied with conviction. "A real family understands and supports each other. They were just strangers obsessed with money." The two moved to the breakfast table where William had prepared croissants and scrambled eggs, a simple but heartfelt meal. This was the true happiness Ashley had been seeking. "I have a proposal for you, Ashley," William said, looking earnestly at Ashley. "Why don't we live together?" Ashley was momentarily speechless, the snow quietly falling outside the window. "Let's start a new life here, together," William suggested, his words bringing tears to Ashley's eyes, tears of joy from being freed from the false burdens of family and finding a new, true one. "Yes," Ashley smiled. "That sounds wonderful, William." Just then, her smartphone began to ring again. The screen displayed Mom. But Ashley no longer hesitated. She picked up the phone and completely blocked her mother's number, followed by Brian and Douglas. "I've taken a new step," Ashley said with a clear and bright expression. William responded with a warm smile. In mid-January, not long after the new year, Manhattan was hit by a severe cold wave. From the window of Ashley's office, the cityscape seemed to shiver in the icy north wind. "Mizu Holmes, there's a visitor for you in the lobby," her secretary's voice came through the intercom. "Mrs. Hillary Brown is here." Ashley's hands paused above the keyboard. Hillary Brown. It was the first time she'd heard her mother's name since that Christmas Eve. Understood. I'll be right there, Ashley replied, her voice trembling slightly. In the high-rise building's first-floor lobby, Ashley's high heels echoed on the marble floor as she prepared herself for the reunion with her mother. Her mother was sitting on the visitor's sofa, not in her usual flashy attire, but in a simple gray coat, her makeup subdued, clearly showing signs of fatigue. "May I come in?" Her mother's voice lacked its former arrogance. Ashley nodded silently and led her mother to the elevator. Once they arrived at the office, Ashley gestured for her mother to sit on the sofa in the reception area. Outside, light snow began to dance in the air. "I came here because I needed to talk," her mother started quietly, sitting across from Ashley with a cup of coffee between them. "We've reached our limit." It was exactly as Ashley had expected. Her father's inheritance was nearly depleted after years of extravagant living. Her stepfather's real estate investments had failed, and they were now burdened with debt. Brian was struggling to pay for his new car and was behind on rent. "We need help," her mother's voice shook. "Mom, is this about money?" Ashley asked, her tone calm. "Yes," her mother continued hesitantly. "For the monthly living expenses, Brian's car loan, and—" "Mom, that's enough," Ashley cut her off. "Mom, I'm no longer the family bank. I've chosen to live my own life." Her mother's expression clouded over, a stark contrast to the clear resolve in Ashley's eyes. "But we're family." "What does real family mean, anyway?" Ashley asked quietly. "During Christmas, you all treated me like a chauffeur. You said nothing when Brian gave me that spiteful smile. Is that family?" A heavy silence filled the room. "Listen, Ashley," her mother Hillary said tearfully. "I truly regret what happened that day. But right now, I'm really in trouble. I need your help." Ashley slowly stood up and walked to the window, gazing out at the view. The building that her father once managed could be seen in the distance. "Mom, go home," Ashley said without turning around. "And don't come back again. My life is mine, Ashley." "Goodbye, Mom." Her mother seemed to want to say more but ultimately stood up in silence. The sound of the door closing echoed in the room. Ashley sighed deeply as she returned to her desk and touched her father's keepsake necklace. Strangely, something heavy inside her chest felt a bit lighter. The arrival of spring had transformed the Manhattan scenery. From the window of William's penthouse, the park was alive with blossoms in full bloom. Ashley held her morning coffee and gazed at the scene. "Ashley, what are you thinking about?" William asked gently from behind her. "Just a lot of things," Ashley replied, turning to smile. "In these 3 months, my life has changed so much." Indeed, the changes were significant. She had announced her engagement to William, and she had been promoted to head of her department at the investment bank. As the leader of a new project team, her talents were fully recognized. There had been no contact from her mother, and Brian's flashy social media posts had disappeared. Later, she heard from a colleague that they had moved from a luxury apartment to a modest one, now living a simpler life. "Any regrets?" William asked as he stood beside her, looking at the cherry blossoms. "None at all. This is the path I've chosen," Ashley replied, touching her father's keepsake necklace. "True family isn't necessarily about blood relations," Ashley thought to herself. "It's about understanding and supporting each other." At dusk, in a fancy restaurant where she had met William, he had important news. "We're going to expand with a new hotel chain on the West Coast," William said happily. "And I want you involved as an investment advisor." Ashley nodded immediately. Work and private life, everything was coming into perfect balance. She had a feeling. "A new beginning for our lives." Ashley raised her glass. "Yes, our lives." William smiled, clinking his glass with hers. The chime sounded like the beginning of a new chapter.